proper form. And the ones that, as Paul points out, are the most typical linguistic productions that you run into in precisely the area your clients are stuck. In fact, there's a sense that the higher the rate of nominalization is flowing out of the mouth, the closer you are to the stuck states, and they're going to be one of the primary things you're going to have to break up with their resources in order to get them to set of choices that they're out. Any other comments or questions from this last drill? Just like this morning, there's a relationship between the physical drill we did and the drill that we did right after that. Similarly, in this case, the linguistic circuitry involved will be extremely useful in our next set of tasks. Which primarily, I want to do a few things here with you as a group. So let's talk about some procedure that you presently have that you use, that you would like to make damn sure that you recapitulate inside of the context of transcript.
For instance, working with someone going into an actor's going in for an interview for a casting director and having that be successful.
Okay, so now he's put me in a deep trance and I'm sitting here, maybe cataleptic or something, and let's say he's arranged the signals, and their standard signal, my right index finger, because I'm right-handed, is going to be yes, and my left index finger will be no. Now, how does he take any of the procedures that he presently uses and fit them into this context? Now, the general response is he's going to have to chunk it down into pieces. What are the component parts of what you normally do with actors and actresses? What's the first thing that you do?
Well, basically, this is a role play. Having them come in and I pretend I'm the person. They walk in and introduce themselves. And that's the first step.
Okay. Now, what's the translation into the hypnotic environment? There's two possible translations that occur to me immediately. One is hallucinatory. That is, you invite him, to see the context, the office, desks, etc., especially if I happen to know where the thing is. If not, I'll hallucinate it. And to put the person who's going to be interviewing me behind the desk. So the instructions would be, John, using all of the information you presently have available with reference to the specific physical location and description of the place the interview will occur, if any, and the specific physical characteristics, auditory and visual, of the individual who will be conducting the interview that you'll be attending, and the time and place of the interview, which were the typical things I would do. Okay? I want you to create an environment and allow your yes finger to lift as soon as you've been able to create a realistic environment where you see and hear with as much precision as you can presently muster the actual situation. Make a snapshot. As soon as you've got the snapshot there, in vivid detail, indicated by a yes response. Now, what would be a second approach to it?
Go back to a former experience that you might have had in a job interview. Former job interview, how did it go wrong? Okay. At what point did you know?
Okay, so a second approach would be, and again, break it down for me. So here I'm sitting there. So what do you do? What's the first piece of your instructions?
Okay, what was the first thing that happened?
You put me in a trance, arrange finger signals. That's all that's happened. And now, how would you chunk your technique down for instructions for me as a subject? What would you say to me? Act as if I'm the subject.
Okay. What I would like you to do is to go ahead and relive a past job interview, and when you get to the point where you feel that your behavior was not taking absolute advantage of all your possible resources, and it was not going in the direction that you wanted to go in, let me know by raising, and we'll assume now that we have some finger signals, your right finger to signal yes.
Okay. So now, if I gave you this signal, how would you chunk down his instructions? You heard as well about it?
Yeah.
Help. Okay, yeah, help. But now, what behavior? Agreed. Now, what behavior do you engage in now that you know that I didn't know for help?
You might never do a job interview.
So the first thing is so then you would say to me, have you had any job interviews? And if you get a no signal, great. I mean, you know exactly, you hit it on the head. Suppose I go yes. Now, but I still signal for help. What's the next chunk down? Well, he didn't say that I had to be successful. In fact, he said, relive a job interview.
Maybe he didn't know when it was that the thing changed.
Okay.
Maybe he's not allowing you access.
Okay, suppose that I'm blocked. So I'm amnesic for it, or it was such a traumatic experience that without any further adjustments in your behavior, I'm not going to do it. Suppose that you discovered yes to the question, have you had job interviews? And then you go, were any of them, in your opinion, largely successful? And you get a no. Do you have an objection to reliving one of those failures? Now what do you do?
Disassociate.
Yeah, I mean, metaphorically, John's answered the question quite elegantly. You shoot foul shots from the stands. If you remember the University of Arizona example, now how do you translate that into? Go ahead, Greg.
Well, that's the third stage, isn't it?
Yeah, we're running through a whole series.
Okay.
So how would you chunk that one down? Jeff, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Okay, how would you chunk that one down? How would you translate John's metaphoric response?
If it's okay to imagine a situation that would work, I say yes.
Okay, so you get that. So that would be, what would be another solution to the same choice point without one down?
If you had, what would it look like?
Right. If I had had one, what would it have been like? Live that one. What would be another one? Put up a screen. I want you to sit back in the audience and be mildly amused by the bumbling, stumbling with which this person, who you used to consider yourself, named John, actually conducts himself in the context of this particular film. So you disassociate the person, have them watch and listen to the experience, so that this is a state of security, watching stumbling and bumbling over there. So dissociation, make sure the resourceful here, watching and listening over there. Now, having watched and listened to it, I want you, as a director in a play or in a movie script, to go back over and coach him through an elegant example, which is representative of his full resourcefulness in being able to do job interviews. That would be the natural sequence, right? And signal me yes when you've completed coaching him. If at any point you require assistance as to what choices he might have made, then simply signal by your no finger, and at that point I will walk you some suggestions. So if the no finger comes up, you go, has he gained rapport with the person? So I just go through my checklist. If you can get a yes. Has he made a presentation as far as his background information? Yes. Has he succeeded in reading the nonverbal responses that are being offered even as he speaks? No. So he may be flying blind or deaf. Is he sensitized to the nonverbal indicators of the response which is being offered by the person on the other side of the desk? No. Good. Back him up to the point where he begins his presentation, and now maintain the same acuteness with which he established rapport, even as he's talking at a reduced speed, making him sip and hip at this point. Talking at a reduced speed, he is to notice the responses of affirmation and negation which are being offered by the person behind the desk, and adjust his behavior and his voice until the affirmations far outweigh the negations. Now, can you carry that out? Yes. Signal me yes when you've completed that. Off you go. Now, suppose you get through the whole thing, and as you go through the whole interview, success at the end. Have you completed the entire interview? Yes. Now, did you like what you saw in her? Would you like that to be a choice for you, specifically in the upcoming event? Step into the frame. Pull on the postures. I want you to go through the experience once again as you set it up for the optimal representation of yourself as a resourceful individual, and see from across the desk the face, the responses, listen to the voice, hear the differences in voice quality, and go ahead and run that film script one more from inside your own body, seeing through your own eyes, hearing through your own ears, and enjoying the sense of triumph that you achieved by presenting yourself as a resourceful kind of human being that you indeed are capable of doing. Okay, what would be another choice? Choice.
I just have a question.
Oh,
The subconscious can't talk?
I didn't say come talk. I'm giving you a way of. I want you to be able to do this without necessity of the unconscious talk. The unconscious can certainly talk. In general, it is the belief of naive population that if you ask for speech while a person's in the trance, there will be a lightening of trance. And indeed, my experience, without any presupposition of my part, has been true. That unless you make special arrangements, to have a person begin to speak in an altered state tends to lighten the trance state and move it back toward normal waking state trances. I take that to be simply an associative problem. That is, most people consider themselves conscious when they're talking. So if you ask them to talk when they're in a primarily altered state, it tends to have them drift back to the waking states, which is mostly associated with speaking. Now, if you point out something like the following, the same thing I said yesterday, I don't have to go through the whole thing. You have never, since you were 5 years old, chosen deliberately with individual choice, word by word, the words you're going to utter. I call to your mind certain facts about